Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you again tonight for well, it is tonight, of course. It's Saturday night, so yeah, I hope you guys are having a good Saturday as well, and hopefully you have a good weekend and all that. So I'm returning to you for an album review, and this is a request album review that someone wanted me to do for Cory Marx's album Who I Am. That I'm going to be reviewing. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for this album and let you know my thoughts on it. So let's dive into this review. Now, what did I think of this album overall? I wouldn't say it's my favorite. Uh, it's not my kind of taste in music, to be honest. It's country rock, and it does sound interesting, but I don't know. It just seems very trendy, too, with the country rock. Some of these country artists are trying to experiment a little too much. And I appreciate that he tried with his album, but not all the songs did very good as I thought they would. Devil's Grin was decent. It was probably one of the strongest songs on the album. Uh, Outlaws and Outsiders, which features Travis Tritt, Ivan Moody, and Mick Mars, that was average. I wasn't crazy about it as much. Uh, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I was like, you know what? It's not as great, but it could be something better. Good to Be Us was fairly decent. Wasn't terrible. The way he's singing it, I don't know. I'm having a hard time getting used to the country rock kind of sound that he goes for. He has some interesting featured artists. The one Out in the Rain featuring Lizzie Hale. That was actually a pretty strong song, and I actually didn't hate that one. I wouldn't call it my favorite, but it's decent. It's got a 4 out of 5 in my opinion. That's what I'm giving it. The only ones I had problems with were Better Off, Drive. Drive was average, but not great. It's a acquired taste kind of song. Drive talks about his truck and all that, and we're going for a drive or whatever, and I'm like, ugh, this is gonna be so irritating to listen to. Uh, Another Night in Jail was alright. I was originally gonna give Drive a 2.5, but considering that the melody's not so bad, I'm like, whatever. I guess I'll give it an average score. Bump up the rating by 1.0, but by 1 point of what it's was gonna get. Better Off was meh, not great. It just seems like it's a recycled melody that just is throwaway, and the melody just goes in a cycle of the same melody, and it's just he I like his singing voice when he raises it higher, Cory Marks, but then it just gets to be a little stale of a track. So I wouldn't find it to be my favorite one. And My Whiskey Your Wine and also the acoustic is not as great. It's just meh. But Keep Doing What I Do was a fairly average song. And Blame It on the Double was pretty strong single. Not a bad one, but not as great. Uh, then you have She's Hollywood. Technically, there's only like 13 tracks on this album, so you're in for a fairly short album, I guess. 40 or 50-minute long album. I'm not 100% sure. I played it for a little bit, and some of the tracks, the title track's not too bad. Forgot to mention that track, so yeah, that one's not so bad. But the way Cory Marks is singing, it sounds like the lyrics, I think in Drive, it's just a recycled melody that is just, it goes in a loop mostly, with Better Off too as well. And it just doesn't have any good substance to this album. Production wise, it's alright, but I wouldn't call it a favorite of mine. But overall, I think Cory Marks' Who I Am album is decent. It's not great. It's just a kind of flat and stale album at times, so it's not something I'd come back to, but there's a few songs I can appreciate, which is Out in the Rain featuring Lizzie Hale. Her voice in it is really good, so I'd recommend listening to that track. I guess Blame It on the Double's a pretty strong one. Devil's Grin is pretty good for what it is, and Who I Am and Good to Be Us. After that, nah, screw this album. Not a huge fan of it. But it's decent, so for a score, I think I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. This is a fairly decent album. It's not terrible. It's just, I wouldn't call it my favorite, like I said. And just some of the melodies in the songs tend to get a little stale. And it's just like recycled melodies that are easily throwaway, and this is just kind of a bland album, in my opinion. But you don't have to agree with me on it. It's just how I felt when I was hearing the album. But definitely comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of the Cory Marks album, Who I Am, if you've heard it. I know I'm a few months behind on reviewing it because it came out August 7th. And I wasn't crazy about reviewing it when I heard of him. But I didn't know he was country rock, so it sounds interesting, but when you hear the album, you're just like, I don't know if I like this or not. So it just depends on the person listening to it. Everyone's got their own kind of taste in music, so this is not for me. But if you like this review, comment below and let me know your thoughts on it. Tap like on this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you can to support the channel. I do like some of the heaviness in some tracks on this album, but not everything on it is as great as I was hoping it'd be. But I will be returning to you for a track review in a little bit, a surprising track review, but I want to keep you guys surprised with what I'm going to review. If I don't come at you tonight for it, it's going to be tomorrow morning for the track review. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to be doing another end of the year video until like the 27th. I thought I was going to do another end of the year video mentioning songs that were not bad, that were good, but didn't make my list. That may come out during next week sometime. Before Christmas, of course. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this album review for Cory Marks' Who I Am that I reviewed. Did the best I could to make it as good as possible. And I guess I will be doing a live stream tomorrow. I set it for 3 p.m. tomorrow, so let me see what I'm doing tomorrow. If I don't return to you for the live stream, it's because I got super busy or whatever. But thank you for watching this album review for Cory Marks' Who I Am. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in my next video.